As requested, we have carried out an actuarial valuation of the XYZ pension scheme as of the 5th of April 2010. The purpose of this is to enable the trustee to see the level of asset funding relative to the value of the pension scheme and observe the resulting surplus or deficit. This valuation was completed using SuperVal pension software and checked and verified using Microsoft Excel.
This is a table summarising the various assumptions we used whilst completing the valuation of the pension scheme. Firstly, post-retirement interest rates were assumed to be 6%. We used an average over a period of 10 years to calculate this. Pre-retirement interest rates were assumed to be 6.5%, as historically it is slightly higher than post-retirement. We assumed inflation to be 3.16%, again using an average of the retail price index over a period of 10 years. Using the same method, we assumed salary growth to be 4.345% and the consumer price index to be 2.5%. We used the PMA 92 and the PFA 92 based actuarial calculator for mortality pre- and post-retirement non-pensioners. We used these as they are an appropriate set of mortality tables. However, due to major improvements in healthcare since 1992, people are living longer, so they are rated at -4. For mortality post-retirement pensioners, we again used the PMA 92 and the PFA 92 tables. However, this time we did not use a rating, as although there is an improvement in healthcare, the pensioners are of a much older age and this will not affect them majorly. We assumed the proportion of members married to be 80% for males and 70% for females.
The data we have provided consists of 968 members. The pie chart here shows the three types of members: active, deferred and pensioners. Members are divided into these categories in the following proportion: pensioners 26.14%, actives 35.54%, and the largest being deferred just over 38%. As you can see, there were 5 subcategories within these categories which relate to pension increase associated with that member. Here you can see a table of our valuation results. Total liability for actives, deferreds and pensioners was 92,919,000. Our funding level was 80.7%. This was worked out by dividing our total assets of 75 million in equities by the combined liabilities of actives, deferreds and pensioners. Over the next 10 years, we intend to raise our current funding level to the full valuation amount. If future pension payments increase was reduced to 0%, the deficit would be reduced to around 11 million, a difference of nearly 7 million. However, such a plan would be met with strong opposition from policyholders. A more feasible solution would be to invest annual payments of just over 2 million, assuming 4% interest, or 2,434,000, assuming 6% interest. As mentioned before, values obtained from SuperVal and liabilities of actives, deferreds and pensioners are based on assumptions we have chosen. These results are sensitive to alterations of our assumptions. We looked at the effect of changes in interest rate, inflation and salary growth had on the liabilities of the pension scheme. A decrease of 0.5% on pre-interest rate of 6.5% increased the actives liability by 12.78% and the deferreds by 13.76%. Whereas an increase of 0.5% reduced the actives liability by 11.03% and the deferreds by 11.8%. We have only chosen pre-interest rate, as the change in post-interest rate will have no effect on liabilities. Also, pensioners aren't included in this table, as a change in interest rate will have no relevance to pensioners' liability. Also, you can see how a change of the value of salary growth affected liabilities. Alterations salary growth obviously only affects active members of the scheme. Decrease of 0.5% on the original salary growth of 4.345% reduced liabilities by 5.73%, whereas an increase of 0.5% increased it by 6.19%. Finally, we looked at the effect of changing the level of inflation. Our original inflation value was 3.16%. A decrease of 0.5% on inflation reduced the liabilities by 7.61%, and an increase of 0.5% increased liabilities by 8.35%. As pensioners' liability has already been accumulated, the liability is unaffected by a change in the inflation rate. Actives also are unaffected by a change of the inflation rate, as the liability is determined by salary growth, which is greater than inflation. Therefore, inflation is already integrated into the salary growth assumption.
As seen in one of the previous slides, the liabilities of active, deferred and pensioner members are approximately 41 million, 8 million and 44 million respectively. These liabilities have left the company with a deficit of approximately 18 million and therefore a funding level of 0.807. This has resulted in our company wishing to apply cost savings. That means to explore methods to reduce the deficit as quickly as possible. Due to deferred and pensioner members having already accrued the pension owed to them, only changes affecting the future active members can reduce the deficit and improve the funding level. Firstly, for the cost savings, we increase retirement age from 65 to 70. This means active members will contribute more towards funding the pension scheme before they retire. This came out with a cost saving of 10.5 million. Secondly, we reevaluated the scheme using the consumer price index instead of the retail price index. 2.5% is assumed for the consumer price index. Cost savings were 3 million here. We then used a career average revalue scheme. This allows the calculation of future pension owed to active members by using accrual of their average career salary as opposed to the average salary over the last 3 years of retirement. Cost savings came out at around 2 million. We then introduced a 0% increase in all future pension accruals. This stops any further increase in employer contributions to their already underfunded pension scheme. This got a cost savings of 10 million. Finally, we changed the accrual rate from 1/60th to 1/80th. This reduces the rate at which benefits are accrued during active service. The cost savings here were 9,700,000. So conclusion. After researching several methods of improving the funding level, we have reached the conclusion that the deficit could be removed over the next 10 years if the employer were to contribute approximately 2.5 million per year to the scheme. We have advised the trustee to allocate assets in a mixed portfolio of equities, gilts and corporate bonds, resulting in a more stable asset value and less risk overall. We have proved that the most effective cost-saving method is to increase retirement age from 65 to 70. However, this method has a degree of uncertainty and will not be popular, so it is worth noting that introducing 0% increases in all future pension accrual or changing the accrual rate to 1/80th will also have a very significant effect on cost savings.